Let's go. Parker Mecha. Go Parker Mecha. Episode 2. The Poison Swamps. Dai Tuwa du no shall die. Several weeks had passed since the evacuation, and the settlement at Storm Basin had begun, slowly, to feel less like a refuge and more like a home. Human engineers and Veylin builders worked side by side now with the easy, practiced rhythm of people who had stopped needing to translate every gesture between cultures. New structures rose at the settlement's edge, half Parker engineering, half Veylin crystal architecture, a hybrid style that belonged to neither civilization alone, and increasingly to both. Children ran between the construction sites in mixed groups, human and Veylin together, inventing games that crossed every boundary their elders were still patiently learning to navigate. It was hopeful, genuinely hopeful, in a way that still occasionally surprised the family who had built it. "We survived," Cassandra said, standing at the settlement's overlook with her grandmother, watching the morning light catch the crystal towers rising alongside the human structures. "But we've barely scratched the surface of this world. There's so much we still don't understand." Mary looked at the horizon, the basin's edge, and beyond it, the vast stretches of planet that remained entirely unexplored. "Then we keep learning," she said. It was, as it had always been, the simplest possible answer to the largest possible question. The reading princess found the anomaly during her morning atmospheric survey, a habit she had maintained without interruption since long before the crystal lattice crisis, the specific discipline of someone who understood that the smallest readings sometimes carried the largest implications. "Mum," she said, pulling the data onto the bridge of their temporary command center, "I'm seeing something unusual from the southern swamp region. Toxic gas concentrations beyond anything in our existing maps. Oxygen dead zones, extensive ones. And beneath all of it," she paused, refining the scan, "unstable crystal lattice readings. The same network we've been tracking since the Storm Basin. It extends out there too." "How far out there?" Mary asked. "Far enough that no Veylin expedition has documented it in living memory," Princess said. "I asked their elders this morning. They told me their people have avoided that swamp for generations. Not because of tradition, because nobody who went deep enough ever came back with anything useful to report." Mary considered this with the specific weight she gave to information that carried both opportunity and risk in equal measure. "And the ruins?" she asked, noting the structural signatures buried in Princess's data. "Ancient," Princess said. "Older than anything Veylin civilization has built. I don't have a clear picture of what they are yet. That's part of why I think we need to go." Mary looked at the swamp's projected boundary. Toxic, oxygen-starved, lethal, to anyone who entered it without protection. "This is exactly the kind of environment we built 5 Mecha to survive," she said. "Prepare the team." Deployment. The launch happened at the settlement's primary platform, the 5 frames rising from their cradles in the formation that had become, over the months since Project Genesis, as natural to the family as breathing. The Aegis, Mary Parker, the white and gold Titan that had once shielded an entire evacuation, now serving as the expedition's mobile sanctuary against whatever the swamp's toxic atmosphere might attempt. The Vanguard, Parker, midnight blue and crimson, the frame that had redirected an entire dragon migration with patient precision, now scouting ahead into terrain no human eye had safely studied. The Cyber Viper, Cassandra Brown, emerald trimmed, built for exactly the kind of deep environmental analysis this mission demanded, her sensors already reaching ahead toward the swamp's strange, layered signatures. The Oracle, Princess Parker, silver and violet, the frame built around her gift for seeing patterns nobody else could see, mapping the safest possible route through a region designed, it seemed, to discourage exactly this kind of exploration. The Forge, Amira Campbell, sapphire and gold, ready to build whatever the swamp's impossible terrain required. Bridges where none existed, platforms where the ground itself could not be trusted. 5 Mecha, Mary said, addressing the team over the open channel as the formation cleared the settlement's perimeter. 5 different strengths. This world will keep testing what we're capable of, and we will keep answering. Let's go see what's been hiding in that swamp." Into the Poison Swamps. The region that opened beneath them was beautiful in the specific, dangerous way that the most lethal places on this world had always managed to be. Giant trees rose from the marshland, their bark crusted with crystal growth that caught the filtered light and scattered it into slow, drifting motes of color. A glowing fog hung low across the water's surface, beautiful, and, according to Cassandra's immediate sensor sweep, saturated with exactly the toxic compounds that had made this region lethal to anyone without proper protection. Strange wildlife moved through the canopy above, creatures unlike anything the Veylin's own, records described, adapted to an environment that would have ended any unprotected life within minutes. "Atmospheric reading confirmed," Cassandra reported. 0 breathable oxygen across a 6-kilometer radius, minimum. Toxic compound saturation high enough that even brief, unprotected exposure would be severe. "The Veylin were right to stay away," Amin said, his vanguard already scouting the safest visible path forward. "Oracle's mapping the route now. Princess said, her sensors building a continuously updating model of the safest path through the marsh's shifting, treacherous terrain. There's a stable corridor. Narrow, but it should hold. I'll keep it that way, Amira said, already deploying the forge's construction systems ahead of the group. Temporary platforms extended across the marsh's most unstable sections, giving the team solid ground where none had naturally existed. They moved as a unit, the Oracle finding the path, the Forge building it, the Vanguard scouting ahead for anything the sensors might miss, the Cyber Viper analysing every new reading the swamp produced, the Aegis holding position at the formation's centre, ready to shield the group from any environmental hazard the marsh decided to throw at them. Crystal storms built over distant water, visible even from this distance. Small, contained versions of the great storms that had once threatened the entire basin, a reminder that the crystal lattice's instability reached even this remote, unexplored corner of the world. The ruins, deep within the swamp, where the crystal growth thickened into something approaching a forest of its own, the team found what they had come searching for. Ruins. Ancient, unmistakably deliberate, rising from the marsh's centre in geometric patterns that bore no resemblance to anything Veylin architecture had ever produced. This predates them, Princess said, running comparison after comparison against every architectural database the family possessed. By a significant margin. I don't recognise the construction method. I don't recognise the materials. Whoever built this didn't just precede the Veylin civilization. They may have predated everything we've encountered on this world. Cassandra moved closer, her sensors drinking in every detail of the structure's surface. Symbols, she said, her voice carrying the specific, focused excitement that always emerged when a genuine mystery presented itself. Look at this pattern. It resembles sections of the crystal lattice network. Not identical, but related. Like an earlier version of the same language. You think this civilization built the lattice? Amin asked. I think, Cassandra said carefully, that this civilization might have been here when the lattice was built. Whether they built it themselves, I can't say yet. But the connection is real, I'm certain of that much. She continued documenting. The Cyber Viper's deep scan arrays, building a complete record of every surface, every symbol, every architectural detail the ancient structure offered. The signal. It was Princess who caught it, a presence beneath the ruins that her instruments had been registering at the edge of detection since the team's arrival, growing clearer the deeper they moved into the structure's heart. There's something below us, she said. A signal. Extremely old. The structural signature doesn't match anything Veylin, anything human, anything we've catalogued from any source. She paused, refining the reading. It's not natural. I don't know what it is. The team followed the signal down, through passages the ancient builders had clearly intended to be navigated, the architecture opening gradually into something vast. A chamber, enormous, its ceiling lost in darkness beyond even the Aegis's powerful lights, and at its centre, there, Amin said, quiet, pointing, a shape, massive, humanoid in its general proportions, partially consumed by crystal growth that had clearly been accumulating across a span of time none of them could begin to estimate. Its details were obscured, whether by the crystal itself, by age, or by something more deliberate Princess's instruments could not yet resolve. It did not move. No active threat signature, Cassandra reported, her voice carrying the specific tension of someone documenting something she could not yet fully categorize. No movement, no energy discharge. It's just waiting, Mary said, finishing the thought from her position at the Aegis. Or sleeping, or something we don't have a word for yet. Nobody spoke for a long moment. I can't identify it, Princess admitted finally. I've run every comparison I have. There's nothing in our records, human, Veylin, or anything we've recovered from the Lattice archives. That matches this. Then we record everything, Cassandra said. And we study it. The tease. As the team began their careful withdrawal from the chamber, the signal Princess had been tracking strengthened, briefly, sharply, a spike that made every instrument in the formation register the change simultaneously. A symbol appeared across the oracle's display. Ancient, unfamiliar. Constructed from the same visual language as the lattice symbols Cassandra had documented at the ruins' entrance, but more complex, denser, carrying the specific weight of something that meant to be understood by someone, even if that someone was not yet this family. No translation exists for this, Princess said, working through every linguistic database the family possessed. Nothing close. I'm flagging it for deeper analysis. The camera of every recording instrument across all 5 frames held, for a long moment, on the buried humanoid shape at the chamber's centre, silent, motionless, ancient beyond any measure. They currently possessed. Then the team withdrew, the chamber's signal fading behind them as they retraced the forge's constructed path back toward the swamp's outer edge. Return. The Mecha returned to the settlement as evening settled across the basin, the community gathering at the platform's edge, with a specific warm relief that had become a small ritual of its own, the celebration of an expedition completed. Knowledge gained. Everyone returned safely. Another piece of this world we didn't know existed yesterday, Amira said, climbing down from the forge with the satisfied exhaustion of someone who had built 3 emergency platforms in a single afternoon. I love this planet. It's never boring, mildly terrifying constantly, but never boring. The ruins alone justify the expedition, Princess said. Whatever else we found, that architecture is going to take months to properly study. Mary looked at her family, tired, intact, carrying home a discovery that would reshape their understanding of this world yet again. This planet has far more secrets than any of us expected when we first arrived, she said. We keep finding that out the hard way, but we keep finding it out together. The name. That evening, long after the settlement had quieted into its nighttime rhythms, Cassandra remained at her terminal, reviewing the data the day's expedition had recovered. The Oracle's systems, running in the background through the patient, continuous reprocessing that Princess had designed into its analytical architecture, had been working through the strong symbol from the chamber's depths for hours. A fragment resolved, then another. Cassandra watched the display with the specific, focused stillness of someone witnessing something assemble itself into meaning. One word formed, finally, complete. Abaddon. She sat with it for a long moment, the weight of an unfamiliar name, carrying implications she did not yet have the context to understand. Whatever this was, whoever or whatever that buried shape in the swamp's depths had once been, whatever connection it carried to the crystal lattice, and the ancient civilization that had built around it, it now had a name. And a name Cassandra understood with the particular clarity that had defined her growth since the lesson of the empty colony was always the beginning of a question rather than the end of one. She saved the file. She looked at the word one more time. The mystery was no longer whether something ancient existed beneath this world. The mystery now was what Abaddon actually was, and why, after however many ages of silence, its signal had chosen this particular moment to answer. End of episode 2. The Poison Swamps Vamos. Parker Mecha. Shinku. Parker Mecha. Episodio 2. Los pantanos venenosos. Dido Hua. Duno Chaudi. Habían pasado varias semanas desde la evacuación, y el asentamiento en la Cuenca de Tormentas había comenzado, lentamente, a sentirse menos como un refugio y más como un hogar. Ingenieros humanos y constructores. Veylin trabajaban codo a codo ahora con el ritmo fácil y practicado de personas que habían dejado de necesitar traducir cada gesto entre culturas. Nuevas estructuras se alzaban en el borde del asentamiento. Mitad ingeniería Parker, mitad arquitectura de cristal Veylin, un estilo híbrido que no pertenecía completamente a ninguna civilización, y cada vez más a ambas. Los niños corrían entre los sitios de construcción en grupos mixtos, humanos y Veylin juntos, inventando juegos que cruzaban cada límite, que sus mayores todavía estaban aprendiendo pacientemente a navegar. Era esperanzador, genuinamente esperanzador. Sobrevivimos, dijo Cassandra, parada en el mirador del asentamiento con su abuela. Pero apenas hemos rasgado la superficie de este mundo. Hay tanto que todavía no entendemos. Mary miró el horizonte, el borde de la cuenca, y más allá las vastas extensiones de planeta que permanecían completamente sin explorar. Entonces, seguimos aprendiendo, dijo. La lectura. Princess encontró la anomalía durante su sondeo atmosférico matutino. Mamá, dio, levando los datos al puente de su centro de comando temporal. Estoy viendo algo inusual de la región del Pantano Sur. Concentraciones de gas tóxico más allá de cualquier cosa en nuestros mapas existentes. Zonas muertas de oxígeno extensas. Y debajo de todo eso, hizo una pausa, refinando el escaneo. Lecturas inestables de la retícula de cristal. ¿Qué tan lejos?, preguntó Mary. Lo suficientemente lejos que ninguna expedición Veylin lo ha documentado en memoria viva, dijo Princess. Le pregunté a sus ancianos esta mañana. Me dijeron que su gente ha evitado ese pantano por generaciones. ¿Y las ruinas?, preguntó Mary. Antiguas, dijo Princess. Más antiguas que cualquier cosa que la civilización Veylin haya construido. Esto es exactamente el tipo de entorno para el cual construimos 5 mechas para sobrevivir, dijo Mary. Preparen al equipo. Despliegue el Aegis. Mary Parker, el titán blanco y dorado que una vez protegió toda una evacuación. El Vanguard, Amin Parker. Azul mediano y carmesí. El frame que había redirigido toda una migración de dragones. El Cyber Viper, Cassandra Brown. Con bordes esmeralda, construido exactamente para este tipo de análisis ambiental profundo. El oráculo, Princess Parker, plateado y violeta. El frame construido alrededor de su don para ver patrones que nadie más puede ver. La fragua, Amira Campbell, zafiro y dorado, lista para construir lo que sea que el terreno imposible del pantano requiera. 5 mechas, dijo Mary, dirigiéndose al equipo por el canal abierto. 5 fortalezas diferentes. Este mundo seguirá probando de qué somos capaces, y nosotros seguiremos respondiendo. Vamos a ver qué se ha estado escondiendo en ese pantano. Dentro de los pantanos venenosos, la región que se abrió debajo de ellos era hermosa de la manera específica y peligrosa en que los lugares más letales de este mundo siempre habían logrado ser. Árboles gigantes se alzaban del pantano, su corteza incrustada con crecimiento de cristal. Una niebla brillante colgaba baja sobre la superficie del agua, Hermosa, y según el escaneo inmediato de sensores de Cassandra, saturada exactamente con los compuestos tóxicos que habían hecho esta región letal. Lectura atmosférica confirmada, reportó Cassandra. 0 oxígeno respirable en un radio de 6 kilómetros, mínimo. Los Veylin tenían razón en mantenerse alejados, dijo Amin, su Vanguard ya explorando el camino visible más seguro hacia adelante. El oráculo está mapeando la ruta ahora, dijo Princess. Lo mantendré así, dijo Amara, y desplegando los sistemas de construcción de la forja. Las ruinas. Profundo, dentro del pantano, el equipo encontró lo que habían venido a buscar. Ruinas. Antiguas, inequívocamente deliberadas, alzándose desde el centro del pantano en patrones geométricos, que no se parecían a nada que la arquitectura Veylin hubiera producido jamás. Esto precede a Elos, dijo Princess. Por un margen significativo. No reconozco el método de construcción. Cassandra se acercó más. Símbolos, dijo, su voz llevando la emoción específica y enfocada que siempre emergía cuando un misterio genuino se presentaba. Mira este patrón. Se parece a secciones de la red de la retícula de cristal. ¿Crees que esta civilización construyó la retícula? Preguntó Amin. Creo, dijo Cassandra cuidadosamente, que esta civilización podría haber estado aquí cuando se construyó la retícula. La señal. Fue Princess quien la captó. Una presencia debajo de las ruinas. Hay algo debajo de nosotros, dijo. Una señal. Extremadamente antigua. La firma estructural no coincide con nada Veylin. Nada humano. Nada que hayamos catalogado de ninguna fuente. El equipo siguió la señal hacia abajo, a través de pasajes que los antiguos constructores claramente habían tenido la intención de que fueran navegados, la arquitectura abriéndose gradualmente en algo vasto. Una cámara, enorme, su techo perdido en la oscuridad, y en su centro. Ahí, dijo Amin. Tranquilo, señalando. Una forma, masiva, humanoide en sus proporciones generales, parcialmente consumida por crecimiento de cristal. No se movía. Sin firma de amenaza activa, reportó Cassandra, sin movimiento, sin descarga de energía. Solo está esperando, dijo Mary, terminando el pensamiento, o durmiendo, o algo para lo que no tenemos palabra todavía. No puedo identificarlo, admitió Princess, finalmente. Entonces registremos todo, dijo Cassandra, y lo estudiamos apropiadamente después. El indicio. Mientras el equipo comenzaba su retirada cuidadosa de la cámara, la señal que Princess había estado rastreando se fortaleció. Brevemente, agudamente, una cámara de símbolo apareció a través de la pantalla del oráculo. Antiguo, desconocido. No existe traducción para esto, dijo Princess. La cámara de instrumento de grabación se mantuvo, por un largo momento, en la forma humanoide enterrada en el centro de la cámara. Regreso. Las mechas regresaron al asentamiento mientras la noche se asentaba sobre la cuenca, la comunidad reuniéndose en el borde de la plataforma con el alivio cálido y específico que se había convertido en un pequeño ritual propio. Otra pieza de este mundo que no sabíamos que existía ayer, dijo Amira. Las ruinas solas justifican la expedición, dijo Princess. Este planeta tiene muchos más secretos de los que cualquiera de nosotros esperaba, dijo Mary. Seguimos descubriéndolo de la manera difícil, pero seguimos descubriéndolo juntos. El nombre. Esa noche, mucho después de que el asentamiento se calmara en sus ritmos nocturnos, Cassandra permaneció en su terminal, revisando los datos que la expedición del día había recuperado. Los sistemas del oráculo habían estado trabajando a través del extraño símbolo de las profundidades de la cámara durante horas. Un fragmento se resolvió, luego otro. Una palabra se formó, finalmente, completa. Abaddon. Se sentó con esto por un largo momento, el peso de un nombre desconocido, llevando implicaciones, para las que todavía no tenía, el contexto, para entender. Lo que fuera esto, quien quiera, o lo que fuera, que esa forma enterrada en las profundidades del pantano hubiera sido una vez. Ahora tenía un nombre. Y un nombre. Cassandra entendió con la claridad particular que había definido su crecimiento desde la lección de la colonia vacía. Siempre era el comienzo de una pregunta en lugar del final de una. Guardó el archivo. Miró la palabra una vez más. El misterio ya no era si algo antiguo existía debajo de este mundo. El misterio ahora era qué era realmente Abaddon. Y por qué, después de no sabía cuántas eras de silencio, su señal había elegido este momento particular para responder. Fin del episodio 2, Los pantanos venenosos.